episode of Surviving the Survivor, we bring you the best guests in all of true crime. Don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button. Here's your host, Emmy Award-winning broadcaster, Joel Waldman.
What's up, STS Nation? Welcome to Surviving the Survivor. It is the show that brings you the very best guests in all of true crime. And when there is a massive trial going on, like Sean Diddy Combs versus the United States government, we bring you live trial updates at lunchtime. And it is sort of lunchtime right now, 1 o'clock on the East Coast. Court ready to reconvene for a shortened afternoon session. Because one of the jurors has a graduation party, I believe, to get to. But it is week 6, day 26 of the Sean Diddy Combs trial. They have not been in session the last 2 days, one over a juror being sick on Wednesday, and then Thursday, yesterday, a federal holiday, otherwise known as Juneteenth. But again, day 26 of the federal sex trafficking trial against Sean Diddy Combs. The courtroom was pretty explosive today. We saw a literal glimpse into Sean Diddy Combs' life, and it was a little scary because a lot of photos were admitted into evidence, which are now free for the public to see, and we will bring some of those up in just a moment. On the stand today, highly anticipated, the so-called baby-faced drug mule, otherwise known as Brendan Paul, otherwise known as a one-time Syracuse University basketball player, and he really laid it all out, talking about how he bought drugs for Sean Combs, set up these freakoffs / sex parties / hotel nights, and even sampled something that was ketamine laced to prove loyalty to the king, Sean Diddy Combs. That was a picture right there of Brendan Paul. You can tell he's a taller guy, played hoops at Syracuse University. Jurors did see new surveillance photos from Diddy's mansion, and it was loaded with guns, with drugs, baby oil, of course, and some text messages were read as well from Cassie Ventura describing some of the beatings, the control, and the fear. The government here is nearly done with their case and likely would have been this week had it not been for the last 2 days off. The defense is on deck, and the clock right now ticking toward deliberations. You can see these different types of the handgun. There's what appears to be an AR-15 style weapon. You can see the magazines. Looks like Don Corleone's confines here, but this is Sean Diddy Combs. 8:23 a.m., if you want to be precise. That's when court reconvened back into session after the 2-day unintentional break, at least on Wednesday. Yesterday it was a federal holiday. Judge Arun Subramanian taking to the bench. The defense right away. Now, Juror 6 was tossed from this trial after it was discovered. You see, I'm not even sure what that is, to be honest. If anyone has a guess as to what that is specifically, I see that little lingerie type. Oh, it's baby oil. Oh, yeah, I can see. Okay, I see it now. All right. That was weird. That was like a optical illusion. So juror number 6 was tossed the other day, essentially because they said that they were New York residents, but they were living in New Jersey. There was some conflict over it. It happened to be a 40-something-year-old black juror. The defense was upset to have him go. In his place was reportedly a 57-year-old white accountant, Lauren Conlon, who was with us. She thinks that things got sort of adjusted in terms of juror seat numbers because she had told us on the show that the person who replaced Sean Diddy Combs was actually an Indian American who replaced a juror, number 6, was actually an Indian American. I'm still not 100% clear, so I have a text out to her to try to figure that all out. 8:54, right before court usually begins, the judge said that he's going to provide the proposed jury charge, and he's going to do that today. Otherwise, the instructions that the jurors are going to follow during deliberation. So we're getting down to the wire, and next week, obviously, we're going to bring you the verdict when it happens. If it happens next week, we assume the defense will be done, but when it happens, we'll be there, and I'm sure we'll do a couple live shows leading into it. By the way, coming up right after this, and we will redirect you, the debut of Leave a Comment, starring my mom and a minor role with me, where we are literally just going to take your comments. I got the idea from this show the other day when you guys had a ton of comments and I was just responding. So we are going to start the show called Leave a Comment. It's a creative, long title that I came up with, Leave a Comment. And I already forgot my hashtag, but I have a graphic being built, so I will remember it. But it's basically hashtag best takes on life something. Hi, Joel. Love watching your channel all the way from sunny Tucson, Arizona, where I met my wife working at K-Gun 9. Thank you, the mods, for everything you do. I love Tucson, and I would live in Tucson, but COE prefers the beach. But maybe Arizona gal, you can talk her into Tucson. Where in Tucson? Which part of Tucson? I would like to know. So the judge is going to have jury instructions essentially by the end of the day today. And he said, and I quote, "The court recognizes that the parties will likely be unable to meet and confer on such redactions for the entire transcript. However, the parties should do so for the witnesses that they believe the jury will most likely ask for." So he's talking about transcripts that he would like, or they would like, the jurors to review, and they're going to get transcripts already. I'm not sure why that's an issue, because I assume there's just a court reporter with those transcripts. So if someone can clarify that, that would be amazing. Excuse me. Then sort of the star of the day, Brendan Paul. This is the so-called babyface drug mule. His testimony began just after 9 a.m. He is essentially Diddy's former assistant / drug mule. He was in a suit with a white shirt. You saw that. Looked like a beige-ish colored suit. The questioning here was led by AUSA Assistant U.S. Attorney Christy Slavic. Direct testimony here. He testifies that he was hired because of his background as a college athlete. He said, "I played for Syracuse. I was on the ACC all-academic team." He says that he was told by Combs' handlers to get in, to get out, and quote unquote, forget his personal life. Forget his personal life. So it was a whole loyalty thing. If you wanted to work for Sean Diddy Combs, you had to be loyal, put your life aside. And you see him there with his attorney walking into court. Looks like he's got a bit of an athletic build. I'm not a huge fan of dudes wearing rings on their index fingers. I don't know why. It annoys me. Probably because Jake Tapper, who I really don't love at CNN, wears a ring on his index finger, mainly because he got a lot higher in news than I did. So, but I really, I'm not a fan of index. I'm not a fan of a ton of stuff on guys in general, but not an index finger ring. 923, this direct testimony continues. Essentially, Sean Combs says to this guy, Brendan Paul, "If you want to work for me, break up with your girlfriend, and you got to focus solely on me." Seems like a nice guy. Guy is sleeping with everyone in the world, Sean Diddy Combs, but he wants this guy breaking up with his girlfriend. He worked from late 2022 to March 2024, and his salary started, he gave under sworn testimony day, started at $75,000 a year. He was earning $100,000 a year by 2024, which, by the way, is the highest figure that we've seen so far. The highest figure that we've seen so far. The other assistants were making 50 or 60. And by the way, they were women. I'm wondering, there's a reason we have a ring. Jared, what are you doing here for this? Great to have you, though. Stick around for the next show, Jared. That's when things are going to get a little wild with Carmen and I. Job culture. I talked about job culture, and Brendan Paul says that Sean Diddy Combs, and I quote here, did not take no for an answer. He wanted staff to move like, quote unquote, SEAL Team 6. My question, do you think these celebrities have oversized egos? He wants people around him It's like Sean Diddy Combs, you're going to die just like everybody else, probably sooner, a lot sooner than most of us. And you're not that special. But he wanted everyone moving. Like, I can't stand it. Conor McGregor, the UFC fighter, if Black Widow is here, just got in trouble for knocking a guy out. And the guy's a professional fighter and decides it'd be a good idea at a nightclub in Ibiza, but they say Ibiza in Spanish. Be a good idea to knock a guy out with 2 punches. I hope he gets charged and ends up in jail for that. Not happy about that. Okay, so aside from acting like SEAL Team 6, Paul was fired multiple times. And we've heard this, I guess, before. The women left and came back. In this case, he was actually fired once for getting behind a Lululemon fanny pack. So, again, Diddy's got like the Gucci and the Chanel bags, but this guy, Brendan Paul, gets the Lululemon fanny pack. Christina Coram, the chief of staff, who's kind of in the middle of all this, she says to Brendan Paul, according to him, lay low and you'll be back. And sure enough, he laid low and he was back. So there you go. Diddy had, I guess, short-term memory issues. And yeah, Gulf Coast girl, Connor's always in trouble. That guy's going to be out of money, by the way, even though he's got a ton of it. He's just does not have his you-know-what together. So Brendan Paul said he received detailed instructions to buy thousands of dollars of drugs. This is important. And here you're seeing some of said drugs that were found inside of Sean Diddy Combs's home. And this might have been the stuff that was seized when they hopped on that airplane and arrested him. We've got cocaine, ecstasy, marijuana, ketamine, and pink cocaine, otherwise known as 2C. And there was ketamine-laced 2C that Brendan Paul said he had to try for Sean Diddy Combs just to prove his Lululemon is definitely expensive, Canine Catherine, but it is not Gucci or Chanel. That was my point. I mean, it's next level expensive. Joel, lots of details will flag us. I'm not sure what that means. Okay, so he had to try this 2C, which is pink cocaine. I don't think I've ever heard of it till right now. And it was laced with ketamine, and he had to do that to prove his loyalty and you know, bend the knee to the king, Sean Diddy Combs. He said he bought these drugs from various dealers, and he gave first and nicknames. Here are the following drug dealers' names in Sean Diddy Combs' world. Guido, my personal favorite. One Stop, Baby Girl, and Avi, as in OVI. I guess you could pronounce it Ovi, but I think it's Avi, like obviously. At Coachella, Diddy asked Paul to sample this 2C. And this is what Brendan Paul says, quote unquote, I felt euphoric, but did not feel the full effect. He asked if it was good. I said yes, and then I kept working. I did it to prove my loyalty. I did it to prove my loyalty. Now, that could go to the RICO charges, like the criminal enterprise. This is what, you know, the mafia is how it operates. You got to show loyalty, right? Or you're kicked out of the mafia. So same thing here. Criminal enterprise, RICO charges are used against the mob in New York. They're using the RICO charges here. Work conditions, like most people, he said he didn't sleep a lot. He said the longest stretch without sleep, 3 days, and he said he used Adderall and that 2C to keep going. Which he described as rare cocaine. Paul describes himself as loyal, overworked, but not a drug trafficker. He says he is not a baby-faced mule. He's just an assistant. Again, when asked just point blank if he was a drug mule, the answer was absolutely not. He said that he would use minuscule amounts of the drugs for personal use, which maybe he's modifying that because his boss is sitting right next to him and still has some power. He said that he packed detailed kits for Sean Combs's sex parties, otherwise known as freakoffs, otherwise Yep. Once again, it goes to show the control he had over the employees at Enterprise. Yes, it does, Jennifer Reynolds. I would agree with you. So Brendan Paul would pack kits for Sean Combs' sex parties. In these kits, everybody, there would be toiletries, candles, incense, condoms, which is interesting because usually no one used them, liquor, soup, Astroglide, Gucci pouch with drugs, and $5,000 cash. I'm gonna ask a question. By the way, this dude is my age. He's not that young, Diddy. I told Carm something I was annoyed about life, and she said, "Don't worry, it's 3/4 over for you," which really made me feel so much better. There'll be more of that coming up in about 13 minutes. But the Gucci pouch, drugs, $5,000 cash. There's a grown ass man who's having another grown ass man put together a kit for a sex party, which is just sort of a mind blowing. If you just sit back for a minute and think about what most people do for a living, they go to work, they work at the post office, they work at a construction company. This guy would have to pack toiletries, candles, incest, condoms, liquor, soup, Astroglide, and a Gucci pouch with $5,000. That was his job to get it done for Sean Diddy Combs. Brendan Paul says that after he was arrested for cocaine possession in March of 2024, he did not snitch, again, pointing to the loyalty. He said, and I quote, "The drugs weren't mine, but I didn't give up any names." Now, I'm curious if he's saying that on the stand, because if he does snitch, Diddy's got tentacles and he's got people around him. I certainly wouldn't sit there and be like, "Yeah, I threw Sean Diddy Combs under the bus." There you see a glimpse into his cabinets with more baby. There's just baby oil everywhere you go. Dayquil, we've got Dayquil. Hemp's. What is that in the middle? Looks like a filter. I can't tell what anything is. Looks like almost like Tylenol. Looks like Vicks rub-on stuff over there. But anyway, he had some of the normal stuff and then definitely some of the not so normal stuff. But again, he says he didn't snitch. And when asked why he didn't give up any names, he had a one-word answer: loyalty. The arrest happened the same day as the FBI raids both of Sean Diddy's homes in Los Angeles. Now, you think this guy is a billionaire. I'm sort of assuming this is Diddy's bedroom. Like, I would personally expect it to look a little bit nicer. If you're a billionaire, not the bedroom. Okay, it's the extra room. Okay, so that makes more sense. It's the extra room. Maybe that's, who knows. Yeah, for a house like that, you'd expect the master bedroom to be a little bit nicer. That beautiful house and all the crazy stuff going on the inside. Imagine moving in there after the fact. By the way, the Alexander brothers, we did a story on it last night, and it has been revealed that Orrin Alexander has sold his Miami home for a paltry $52 million, which he's going to need for legal fees. He said at the time of the arrest, and I quote here, "I was sweeping his room and put the drugs in my bag and forgot it while I was packing. It was a mistake," the defense asked, and he says yes. So now at this point, he was being cross-examined by the defense. The defense asks him about Jane, who, of course, is the assistant using a pseudonym. I like the teddy bear in the middle. I wonder if Diddy sleeps with that at night. I'm pretty sure he does. 10:36 a.m. We get to Jane's role in the hotel nights. Brendan Paul denies that Diddy's accuser, Jane, was coerced. So you've got a witness here on the stand saying she was not coerced. Absolutely not, was the direct quote when asked if she was unwilling. And he reiterates he never believed that he was involved in any criminal enterprise. So that he himself said, "Hey, I was never part of a criminal enterprise." I guess you don't know sometimes that you're part of a criminal enterprise. I'm sure he knew the weapons were there. He's getting drugs. Maybe he just doesn't know that is what compromises, a criminal enterprise. We're getting another look in there. It looks like a vial, a packet. I'm not sure what that thing to the left is. That's yellowish. See a lot of electrical plugs. I don't know what's going on here, but it's a little scary. Now, eventually, a guy named Special Agent Joe Cerciello from Homeland Security, he begins testifying. That happens just before 11 a.m. And at around that time, text messages and abuse evidence are brought in. The jury is shown emotional text exchanges. One is from Cassie Ventura saying, "That's not love, that's possession. As soon as you get effed up, you drag me down the hall by my hair. As soon as you get effed up, you drag me down the hall by my hair." Diddy says, "Everyone else sees you acting like a B." He uses the word that rhymes with itch and starts with a B. Very sweet of him. So everyone sees you acting like a B. If I did that for another girl, she would have been so nice and happy. So this guy is highly manipulative. There's the baby oil, the Astroglide, and the Johnson's baby oil. But he says, and I quote again in the text, "Wish I didn't waste my time and energy." That same day, May 2nd, 2017, Cassie Ventura texts Christina Coram and says, "Sure, you don't want to get involved, but no one deserves to get dragged by their hair. Sure, you don't want to get involved, but no one deserves to get dragged by the hair." So she's now appealing to KK, Christina Coram, the chief of staff, to do something about the fact that she was yanked by the hair by Sean Diddy Combs. And that happened definitely on more than one occasion. The defense enters a 2017 text into evidence, and Ventura in this one says, and I quote here, this is the defense now. She says, "I love our FOs," which stands for freakoffs. "I love our FOs when we both want it, So here, this is going to go to the coercion force argument that she wasn't being coerced, but rather, she says, when we both want it. The defense continues pressing dual consent narrative, contrasting it with allegations of coercion. So that's exactly what they're doing. They're saying, look, this might be terrible, but she was literally texting him saying that she's into it when she wants to be. 11:52, just before lunch, the prosecution lets the judge know that they're extremely close to arresting, which will likely happen early next week. The defense reiterates it's going to need 2 to 5 days, likely closer to just 2 days. So jury deliberations could begin next week with Judge Arun Subramanian still targeting July 4th, but that's 2 full weeks away, I believe, from today, actually. So it's like 2 full weeks. It sounds like we're going to get to the end of the line by the end of next week, and then hopefully get a verdict in this. Again, the charges that he is facing, Sean Diddy Combs, 1 count of racketeering conspiracy, 2 counts of sex trafficking, and that involves the force, the fraud, the coercion, 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. And we have heard from different escorts, male escorts, who say that they were asked to travel from one location to another location to another location. So that could be making the case for the transportation to engage in prostitution. If Sean Diddy Combs is convicted, he faces life in prison. So we'll see how it all ends up. Appreciate you being here. We're about to debut. You're going to be redirected. I'm going to have to bounce out, but we're going to be redirected to a title that I came up with. Very creative, very thoughtful, and it's called Leave a Comment. Now, every YouTuber says, please leave a comment below. Well, leave a comment. This show is all about you. And Pam Harris, look at this. New subscriber. Can't wait to meet your mom. So this is either going to be a Mr. Beast type viral hit, or it's never going to probably air again. And I'm leaning towards the latter. So we'll see. Lindsay Gandy, our friend. I have to bounce out soon. Hope everyone has a great. Lindsay, you're not coming to leave a comment? You don't want to leave a comment? The show won't work if you guys don't leave comments. So I'm going to bounce off because Carm calls me at 9 in the morning, screaming at me, asking me. That's a studio, by the way. Well, pre-change of lampshade and a bunch of other things, but I'm constantly tweaking it. That is my little baby that I created there. That's Carm will not be in studio. She's coming live from her condo next door to Ohad Fisherman, who's friends with the Alexander brothers. I'm going to bounce off so I can help Carm, who was yelling at me at 9 that where am I? Where's the link? What if she can't get in? Love you all. Justice for Diddy's victims. Wish me luck. I'm not sure why. I'm a bit of a masochist. That's why I'm doing this, but we'll see how Leave a Comment turns out. Love you all.